Good evening, I am Tammy Reed in with your VON Major News Package for today, Monday, 5th November 2018. In our lead stories nationally, Financial Secretary provides update on 2018 IMF Article 4 consultation, and St. Kitts Ministry of Education to address bullying. Regionally, Jamaican businessman stabbed to death in Grenada over jerk chicken price. Internationally, rhetoric step up as campaign enters final day before U.S. midterms. And in sports, Carlos Brathwaite to head Windies' 14-man squad in 3 T20Is against India. We'll have the details to these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back, and now the national news in detail.
Dr. Harris is now preventing the latest economic data produced by the IMF Article 4 consultation from being released to the public. Parliamentary opposition and the Labour Party demand that the government be forthright in releasing the findings of the latest economic surveillance report of the International Monetary Fund on St. Kitts and Nevis. If the government chooses not to make the document public, then that would be worse for the government than anything that the IMF would have written in it. Holding back the report flies in the face of all democratic tenets of transparency and accountability that this country stands for.
Opposition parliamentarian, the Honorable Conris Maynard. PM Maynard was at the time speaking during the Labour's Party press conference last Wednesday, October 31st. Earlier this year, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the authorities of St. Kitts and Nevis engaged in the usual Article 4 consultation with an on-site mission to the Federation during the period June 29th to July 9th, 2018. The government has not consented to the publication of the IMF's country's report. However, in an update, Financial Secretary Mrs. Hilary Hazel explains why no report was published and that the consultation with the IMF continues.
Coming out of these consultations, there are certain policy issues that could not be adequately addressed during the 2-week visit to the Federation. The consultation with the IMF, therefore, continues up to today's date, and the government awaits the outcome. In the circumstances, the IMF country report has not been published. It is important to note that the government maintains an excellent relationship with the IMF and would endeavor to build on the strength of this partnership in the interest of advancing the development of the Federation.
Financial Secretary Mrs. Hilary Hazel. The Ministry of Education on St. Kitts is seeking to take steps to address the problem of bullying in schools on the island. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Mr. Vincent Hodge, speaking to the VON Newsline, noted that the education sector will be moving to start addressing the matter of student behavior.
Apart from the individual schools, high schools in particular, addressing it at that level, the ministry has not put out any policy, anything, but we can begin to engage principals and other stakeholders in beginning to come up with some policy statement that would speak to bullying in schools. And we'll see where we go from there.
Mr. Vincent Hodge. Here on Nevis, the Department of Youth and Sports observed Bullying Awareness Day on Friday, 26th of October 2018. The department organized a number of initiatives to bring awareness throughout the island. Activities included speaking in primary and high school about bullying, public awareness tips on Von Radio and the department's Facebook page, and the wearing of a white t-shirt on the day, which represents the stand against bullying. The theme that governed the observation was Arrest Bullying, Stop the Badness, Try a Little Kindness. The expansion project at the Ivor Walters Primary School here on Nevis, which began in mid-August of this year, is approximately 1 week away from completion. The project, which is to the tune of $300,000, was executed by the Public Works Department here on Nevis and seeks to provide additional space for the school's student population as well as easily accessible washrooms. Following a tour of the project last Thursday, November 1st, Acting Premier of Nevis and Minister of Public Works, the Honorable Spencer Brand, expressed satisfaction with the project. He explained that the overcrowding at the school warranted corrective measures to ease the problem. Minister Brand added that on completion of the project, both the school staff and student population would be more comfortable in an environment more favorable to learning. Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, has expressed congratulations to Antigua and Barbuda following the country's 37th anniversary of independence on Thursday, November 1st. In a letter to the country's Prime Minister, the Honorable Gaston Brown, Prime Minister Harris stated, and I quote, "On this year's 37th anniversary of independence, please allow me to express on behalf of the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and indeed on my own behalf, heartiest congratulations to you and the wonderful people of Antigua and Barbuda," end of quote. Dr. Harris also made reference to last year's hurricanes Irma and Maria and highlighted the vulnerability of small island states. He added that your commitment and drive to unite and rebuild is therefore worthy of note. Antigua and Barbuda became an independent state within the Commonwealth of Nations on November 1st, 1981. Premier of Nevis and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Aviation, the Honorable Mark Brantley, has paid his respects to the victims of the first atomic bomb in Japan. Minister Brantley, who was in the country to hold high-level talks with the Japanese government, did this when he visited the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park in Hiroshima City. There he signed the visitor's book and laid a wreath in honor of the thousands of lives that were lost after the world's first atomic bombing on August 6, 1945. Prior to the laying of the wreath, Minister Brantley had the opportunity to tour the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum, where the horrors of the detonation of the nuclear bomb were fully displayed. The museum contains and exhibits the belongings from the victims and offers a glimpse of life before and after the bombing. St. Kitts and Nevis and the Republic of Belarus signed an agreement of mutual abolition of visas on October 19, 2018 in Havana, Cuba. Belarus is a country located in Eastern Europe. Her Excellency Werner Mills signed for and on behalf of the government of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, while His Excellency Ambassador Alexander Alexandrov performed the honors for and on behalf of his government. Both diplomats expressed the hope that the government will truly result in greater travel by the peoples of both countries. Holders of valid passports of all types of each country will no longer require a visa to enter or transit through the territory of the other. St. Kitts and Nevis established diplomatic relations with the Republic of Belarus on June 4, 2016. 3 new and 3 Traverse matters are on the list of criminal cases scheduled to be heard at the High Court in Charlestown when a sitting of the Nevis Circuit begins on Tuesday, November 6, 2018. Among the new matters is the case of Lawton Fobbs, who is charged for offenses of attempted murder, grievous bodily harm, possession of firearm, and possession of ammunition. Another new matter is the case of Leroy Pemberton, who is charged for the offense of unlawful wounding and the case of rape against Mathaniah Matthias and Royston Brown. Among the Traverse cases is that of Roosevelt Brown, who is charged for 2 counts of rape and 1 count of kidnapping. Reese Walters, who is charged for murder, and Keon Moore, who is charged for unlawful wounding, are also traverse cases. The sitting will be presided over by Her Ladyship, Justice Lorraine Williams. Finally, the three-member team of the Integrity in Public Life Commission took their official oath of office, allegiance, and secrecy on Thursday, November 1st, 2018. The oaths were administered by the Registrar of the High Court, Mrs. Janine Harris Lake, in the presence of His Excellency, the Governor-General, Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton at Government House. Governor-General Sir Seaton noted that the oaths are in accordance with the provision of Section 42 of the Integrity in Public Life Act No. 18 of 2013, which states that members of the Commission and staff of the Commission shall not enter upon the duties of their office until they have taken the oath of allegiance, oath of office, and oath of secrecy as may be prescribed. The Integrity in Public Life Commission comprises of its chairman, Attorney-at-Law Mr. Damian Kelsick, Consultant Mr. Dennis Knight, and Certified Accountant Mrs. Carol Buddy. The Integrity in Public Life Bill was passed in 2013 and was operationalized on July 11, 2018. That's our national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com, or you can check us out on our social media page on Facebook at Von Radio and our Von Radio YouTube channel. News from across the region is next.
In the hurricane season, and danger is right upon us. That is why we at the Bank of Nevis Limited have decided that it is time we finish your home. Get that well-needed fence or make some minor upgrades to your home. On a more serious note, install some shutters to keep your family safe during this hurricane season. Visit us or contact us today at 1-869-469-5564. The Bank of Nevis Limited will always stay committed to improving the quality of life.
Welcome back, and now the regional news in detail. In Jamaica, a Jamaican businessman was reportedly attacked and stabbed to death by one of his customers following a disagreement about the price of a portion of jerk chicken in Grenada last Thursday, November 1st. The deceased man has been identified as 52-year-old Norman Power, alias Yadi, who operated his mobile jerk chicken business in St. George's, Grenada. According to reports, a young man requested an easy $5 portion of jerk chicken from Mr. Power, but was told that the available portions were for easy $10 each. The young man reportedly left the location upset and returned a few hours later with a group of persons who threw stones at Mr. Power. During the altercation, the Jamaican was stabbed. He was transported to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Members of the Criminal Investigation Department in Grenada are continuing their investigations into the incident. A number of persons are said to be assisting the police with their probe of the Jamaica's death, media reports say. News out of Antigua. Antigua and Barbuda's non-resident High Commissioner to Canada, Sir Ronald Saunders, said that he has been informed by the Canadian government that with effect from Saturday, November 2nd, nationals of Antigua and Barbuda may now submit biometric data for visas at the Canadian High Commission in Barbados, in addition to Trinidad and Tobago. Saunders said this decision by the Canadian authorities also make it easier for regular travelers and visitors to see both the U.S. and Canadian visa issuing offices in one location. Saunders added that diplomatic efforts are continuing to reach an even better solution, particularly where one, there can be mobile collection of biometric data collection, thus reducing the cost even further. Meantime, St. Lucia's ambassador to the United States, Anton Edmonds, has announced that St. Lucians can now submit applications for visas at the Canadian High Commission in Barbados in addition to Trinidad and Tobago. Edmonds said in the release this would further reduce costs to individuals and families interested in traveling to Canada. In Grenada, the main opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, is urging the population to vote no when they head to the polls on Tuesday to determine whether or not to replace the London-based Privy Council with the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, as the island's final court. The executive of the NDC initially supported the exercise, but on Friday, as members of the security forces cast their ballots on the special polling day, the party's interim political leader, Joseph Andal, said the party has taken a new position because members are not satisfied with the process. On Tuesday, all other persons registered to vote will have the opportunity to vote yes or no on ballots asking, do you approve the bill for an act proposing to alter the Constitution of Grenada, cited as Constitution of Grenada, Caribbean Court of Justice, and renaming of Supreme Court Amendment Bill 2018. The vote comes almost 2 years after Grenadians rejected a move to replace the Privy Council with the Trinidad-based Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ. Finally, as the second anniversary of Fidel Castro's death approaches, Cuban authorities are working on a center for the study and promotion of his ideas. The official newspaper Granma reported Saturday that Castro, the leader of the 1959 Cuban Revolution, asked before his death on November 25, 2016, that no statues be erected in his memory or no streets or other sites be named in his honor. His request was formalized in a law that does not allow an exception. The Castro name can be used to designate any institution devoted to the study and spread of his work and ideas. Granma said the new center would host academic events, meetings and competitions, and support teachings and research projects, as well as the publication of books and other printed matter. The institute will be based in Havana's central El Vidado neighborhood and should open by the end of next year, coinciding with the 500th anniversary of the city's founding. That's it for our regional stories. Stay with us for news around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. The U.S. midterm election campaign is entering a frenzied final day in a vote seen as a verdict on Donald Trump's presidency. The opposition Democrats are hoping to retake control of the House of Representatives, while Republicans seek to tighten their grip on the Senate. Turnout is expected to be high, with more than 34 million Americans already having voted in the election. Both Donald Trump and Democrat Barack Obama rallied supporters on Sunday. In recent days, Mr. Trump has ramped up on his rhetoric on issues like immigration, accusing Democrats of wanting to erase America's borders at a rally in Tennessee. Meanwhile, former President Obama, who has been campaigning for Democratic candidates, urged Americans not to succumb to hostility and division. Two journalists working for the Reuters news agency sentenced to 7 years in prison in Myanmar, Southeast Asia, have appealed against their conviction for breaking the Official Secrets Act. More in this report.
As the trial of Wa Lone and Kyaw Soe Oo dragged on, many international observers thought the prosecution case became increasingly ludicrous. One police witness admitted it was all a trap. But a judge ruled the reporters had received information which could be helpful to enemies of the state. Reuters says it's now filed an appeal because the court's ruling was wrong and failed to prove any aspects of the alleged crime.
Iran's President Hassan Rouhani has vowed to break swinging sanctions reimposed by the U.S. targeting core parts of the economy. The Trump administration is restoring all sanctions lifted under the 2015 nuclear deal in a bid to pressure Iran. They will hit oil exports, shipping and banks and make it difficult to do business with the oil-rich nation. But Mr. Rouhani struck a defiant tone, saying that Iran would continue selling oil. Here is more in this report.
The details of the sanctions are due to be announced. They are targeting many sectors of the Iranian economy, particularly the oil and the banking sectors. They seek to cut off Iran from the outside world. Iranian officials do not hide that these sanctions will have devastating impact. Iran is pinning its hopes on the Europeans to make it possible to trade with Europe, but that has not happened. Not yet.
Finally, Saudi Arabia sent a toxicologist and a chemical expert to its consulate in Istanbul after journalist Jamal Khashoggi was killed, a senior Turkish official has said. The Saudis admit the journalist was killed there last month, but their accounts have wavered on what happened. Turkish investigators believe he was choked to death and then dismembered.
It took more than a week after Jamal Khashoggi's murder for Saudi Arabia to grant Turkish police access to the building and to the Consul General's residence. A senior Turkish official has told the BBC that in that period, a toxicologist and a chemical expert were sent from Saudi Arabia with the aim, Ankara believes, of cleaning up the premises before the Turkish teams entered. President Erdogan said that during their search, forensic experts found material that had been repainted. But Jamal Khashoggi's remains have not been found, and Turkey believes his body was dissolved in acid after being dismembered.
That brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next.
Hello?
Betty!
Hi, Joan. I know you're calling to tell me that new arrivals are here at all TDC retail stores, right?
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't wait. I already went to TDC Home and Building Depot and got my Christmas tree decorations and a new stove. Let's go later because I also need some furniture, electronics, and household items. Then we can go to TDC Automotive and the Business Center. I know there are things there that you need to get.
Don't forget we got to go CDS Nevis too, you know.
Oh, yes. Oh, TDC new arrivals are here.
Welcome back, and now the sports in detail. Winning Super 50 Cup captain Carlos Brathwaite has turned his attention to the Windies as he heads a 14-man squad for 3 T20Is against India, which began on Sunday, November 4th. Among the 14 are Shai Hope and Shimron Hetmyer, who made a giant leap into the top 30 of ODI batters as a result of their performances on this current tour of India. Full squad reads Fabian Allen, Carlos Brathwaite captain, Darren Bravo, Shimron Hetmyer, Shai Hope, Obed McCoy, Kimo Paul, Gary Peer, Kieran Pollard, Nicholas Pooran, Rovman Powell, Dinesh Ramdin, Shafane Rutherford, and O'Shane Thomas. In local sports, 3 more matches were played in the ongoing Primary Schools Football League between Thursday 1st and Friday 2nd November. On November 1st, the VOJN team went up against the Charleston Primary at the E.T. Willett Park. By the time the final whistle was blown, the CPS team defeated the VOJN team 4-0. On Friday, November 2nd, 2 more matches were played at the same venue. The Maud Cross Preparatory School defeated the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary 2-0. Meantime, in the feature match of the afternoon, the Ivor Walters Primary defeated the defending champions, the St. Thomas's Primary, 3-0. In tennis, Novak Djokovic says his thrilling 3-set epic with Roger Federer at the Paris Masters was one of the best between the pair. In their 47th meeting, the Serb beat Federer 7-6, 8-6, 5-7, 7-6, 7-3 to reach Sunday's final. Djokovic, who will return to world number 1 on Monday, will then face Karen Khachanov after the Russian defeated Dominic Thiem. The 31-year-old, now unbeaten in 22 matches, is a 4-time winner of the Paris Masters. A win on Sunday will see him draw level with Spain's Rafael Nadal on 33 career Masters titles. Swiss third seed Federer, chasing his 100th career title, seemed to be back to his best in Saturday's semi-final and looked stronger as the match wore on. Finally, the Phoenix Sun officially agreed to a buyout of Tyson Chandler's contract on Sunday, a move that will allow the 18-year veteran, once he clears waivers, to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers. The 36-year-old Chandler played his high school basketball in Compton, California, just a few miles south of downtown Los Angeles. With the Lakers, he likely to be the backup to JaVale McGee. Chandler has 7 appearances with the Suns this season, all backing up number 1 overall draft pick DeAndre Ayton. Chandler had averaged 3.7 points and 5.6 rebounds in about 13 minutes per game this season. He helped Dallas win the 2011 NBA title and was an All-Star in the 2012-2013 season. That's it for the sports segment. The general weather forecast is next. Welcome back, and now the local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Weather tonight, cloudy with a 40% or moderate chance of overnight showers and a slight chance of isolated thunderstorms. Weather tomorrow, partly cloudy with a 20% or slight chance of showers. Winds easterly at 19 to 28 kilometers per hour or 10 to 15 knots and becoming lighter overnight. Sea significant wave height at 1.5 to 2.1 meters or 5 to 7 feet. A small craft advisory remains in effect and sea bathers should exercise caution. Sunrise tomorrow is at 6:11 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Monday, 5th November 2018. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Financial Secretary provides update on 2018 IMF Article 4 consultation, and St. Kitts Ministry of Education to address bullying. Regionally, Jamaican businessman stabbed to death in Grenada over jerk chicken price. Internationally, rhetoric step up as campaign enters final day before U.S. midterms. And in sports, Carlos Brathwaite to head Windies 14-man squad in 3 T20Is against India. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tammy Reed, wishing you a pleasant evening.